Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining for this chat. We have here Tom Brown and Yuval Barnea from our short selection of international stories, and I'm very happy to have them here. Katie is the director of programming, and she's also joining for this conversation. And yes, I will start.
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy that you can be here. And I will start asking our guests about their personal trajectory that brought them to this story, and describe the work that they presented in this election. So maybe we can start with Yuval.
Hey. So my English is a little bit broken, so I asked again. You asked me how I got to the story of the movie. Okay, great. So I was through a breakup, and also my lead character is on a breakup by surprise. I imagine myself, if I was not that introvert person, what would I do? And I think my character is my worst nightmare, to be the one that want and say that they want to. I imagine what if I would wake up one day and all my house will be of someone else, and I will left with nothing. What I would do.
I see. So you're describing what you would have done if you had a different sort of personality, more extroverted than your own.
Yes, and maybe I am in my inside.
Yes,
but
yes.
With my character, I can be the most pity, I think, the most brave. Yes, this is my character.
And I think I really liked your story in the sense that it was very real and funny, and you don't go for the easy happy ending, and that makes it very relatable, I feel, because many stories end obviously, and this story is not told as much as one would expect.
Yeah, thank you. I think the end is it's like the good ending, but the character doesn't know it.
Yes.
But we see that she not belong there, not to her ex and all the environment. She's something else, other material. And I trust her. She will understand it eventually.
Yes, of course. Life goes on, and it can be for the best. And I appreciate it because it's very relatable and real, and that was really a value in this story. And also funny. There are a lot of funny parts in it.
Yes. I like things when they funny and sad at the same time, like life.
Like life, yes. What did you? I know, Katie, you also like this short a lot.
Yes, I did. I loved the lead. I thought she was amazing. I also really enjoyed the relationship with her and her grandmother. I thought it was realistic. I really enjoyed the back and forth dialogue. And I also liked the haircut scene, and then the ending really reminded me of 80s movies where you have the montage and then the end where she's, professing her love, and exactly what Giuseppe said, you think she's going to win her back, and she didn't. And I, again, really appreciated that ending. I would just like to know how you casted the lead, because she was amazing.
The lead. First, thank you. The lead, I want the first actor really, really not pretty. That's what I go for when I start the audition. Like someone with croaky face or something different, or she looks nice but also very funny. But then she got in and she was the prettiest, So at first I told her, thank you, but not thank you. You're very nice. And then I saw how she walked and how she was in the world. She's like the character. Uh, and something with her eyes is very innocent. And I believe her. Like she wants the best for herself and for the world. So it was great. It fits. And then I thought it go really great with her girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, and like a rich woman from real estate that took the pretty little with green eyes and make her girlfriend for a while, and then it's not for real.
Yeah, I
And
mean, great
yes, she's
casting.
amazing. It's I think her first movie. She's really like started
wow.
then. Yes, it was great.
Thank you.
Amazing.
That's very funny that you had to change your expectations because she was so good for the part.
Yeah.
That happens though. When you find that person that you know you want to be in there, you're like that. She's it. You know.
Yes, but in acting, you know, I want to be special. I'm a student. To say for an actress you're too pretty, it's kind of rare, I think.
Yeah. So true.
I can see that. So, Tom, can you also tell us about your story and how you got to tell it and what brought you to this narration?
Sure. Well, my film is Christopher at Sea, and it's a queer operatic thriller set on board a cargo ship and follows Christopher's journey through solitude into obsession, fantasy, and despair. And I started off, I just wanted to write a love story. And I was thinking about that kind of idea. And then I heard about this crazy artist residency on a cargo ship called 23 Days at Sea, where they put you on a cargo ship on the west coast of America and you spend 23 days on a boat. And then at the end of it, they have an art gallery kind of waiting for you for your art. And I just thought that was the craziest thing I'd ever heard. So then I was like obsessed with this idea of traveling on a cargo ship. And I kind of merged, I didn't get the residency, but that's okay. But I kind of merged those two ideas together because I thought that the setting of a cargo ship and its like juxtaposition with nature and this industrial design was a really unique kind of setting for a love story. And I've been working on this, or I was working on this film for 7 years. So I was working on it for a long time. And right at the beginning of it, I was thinking about this kind of love story, and I was like, oh, it doesn't really make sense for it to be a kind of heteronormative love story because it felt quite predatory for a woman to be on this ship with all these men. And so I started doing all this concept art of this queer love story. And that's when I realized that I was probably gay. And that was maybe the reason why I wanted to tell a love story. And so the film then became kind of entwined with my own experience of coming out, and Christopher's story kind of became about that as much as the romance. And yes, that's how it came about. And then I booked myself on a cargo ship because I didn't get that residency. So
Also, you did the trip.
Yeah, I spent 21 days on a cargo ship going from Southampton in the UK around the North Sea and then over the Atlantic to New York. So I used that as a kind of reference gathering trip to gather like photographs. And I also used it as a writing residency. I wrote the film on the ship because I kind of already had all of the fantasy stuff kind of figured in my mind, but I needed the realism of what it was actually like on a cargo ship.
I was wondering that when I was watching. I was like, is this a real thing that you can do? And now I know you can.
There's two companies that will put you on a cargo ship as a passenger. So you can do it if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it.
What happened that wasn't pleasant?
You know, I was just on a cargo ship for 21 days.
Not very eventful.
Not very well. The first 10 days were pretty fun because we went all around the ports, but then I probably had enough reference. I didn't need to do another 10 days crossing the Atlantic. But it was very similar to Christopher's experience. The crew all spoke French and no one really spoke to me. So it was like a very strange experience, but perfect for Christopher.
Yes, of course. Very good study for the short.
Right.
I would love to ask, I love the style of the animation. How did you figure out the look of it?
Well, it's the drawing style is kind of based on my illustration style. So we use that as a kind of framework, but I wanted it to be sort of illustrative and painterly. And so we kind of developed the style using my illustrations as a reference. But I worked with a team of animators who worked to make it look like I did everything, even though I did not. So.
But you did the illustrations?
I did the initial illustrations and
Yeah.
I did some cleanup and stuff, but I can't do character and performance animation really. So I worked with a team of French animators at a residency in France called Cyclic. I was there for about I was in France for 8 months making it, and then many years afterwards. Yeah.
As a lot of films do, they take a while to make.
Right. The longest part was getting the money, and then the second longest part was production.
Yes, as usual.
And what about the music? You're also a musician yourself, do I get it right?
I am an amateur harpist, but I wouldn't say that I'm a musician.
I went on your website.
But the music was at the beginning of 2020. I don't know if you remember that time.
No memories. blurry.
Right. So by then I'd been working on the project for 5 years, and I was trying to think of a way to kind of make the film as relevant to who I was as a filmmaker then as I was when I started the project. And I'd been listening to this Schubert song cycle, which I can't pronounce properly, but it's called Die Schöne Müllerin. And it's a very sort of sad, melancholy song cycle, which is why I was listening to it so much at the beginning of 2020. And when I read the libretto for it, I realized that the story was quite similar to Christopher's story. So I sort of cherry picked different songs and paired them up with similar moments in Christopher's narrative to bring voice to Christopher's unspoken emotions.
Yeah, that was another character in the short, I feel.
Right. Yeah. And then with the fantasy sequence, I wanted something that was like really aggressively homosexual, and so I got Casey Spooner from Fisher Spooner to give me a kind of a gay electro pop track for that fantasy moment.
Yes, it was very, very fitting. I did like your short a lot. I thought it was beautiful to see and emotional. I think it's a pity that you didn't watch each other's shorts, but you will have the occasion once it streams probably. So that would be nice.
For sure, yeah, I'd love to see Yuval's film.
I have to see it too.
Yuval, I have a question. There is a line in the film that she says, "I need to be silent next to a person who loves me." I thought that was just, there's so many layers to that line, and I just found it so, it hit me, because she still has this hope and she's willing to do anything to be with the person she loves, even if it is, being silent. How did you find just writing? Because obviously the both of you have seemed to take personal experiences and to put it into your films. How did you find overall writing the dialogue for her?
I think my first rule for her character, was that she always said her truth.
Mm-hmm.
What she thinks, that's what you get. And what you want from her grandma, it's not money or suggestion, or she just wants a hug and sit and to be silent. And grandmother, they through a lot of things. She needs to find her solution, to fix her, and she don't want to be fixed. She just want to be silent and loved by her grandmother. And she said it's true, like it is.
Yeah, that scene, I really enjoyed the scene between the two of them. I feel like the grandmother really stole that scene a little bit. She was really a well done character and very well acted.
Yes. I have a theme in few of my movies, little thing that I did, about money and love, and home, a house, and love. What the structure and what is the real emotion. And I think it's a question in my field. She wants her ex because the house, the convenient, or because her love. What her grandmother gave her is love, or it's just money and material things. Maybe the material is a love for the grandma. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think of it that way, but that's a really interesting way to think of it. I like that.
As a person from the Mediterranean myself, I know how our cultures often sort of like cater emotion through food mostly, and sort of sharing activities, like providing food or other comforts rather than actually, speaking about feelings.
Yeah, I feel the war that the grandma was like war, the how the money is in the closet, in the box. She doesn't need to say the grandmother what her past to feel it.
Yeah. Tom, I had a question for you. So obviously the animation changes the style when you go into the fantasy. And then the ending, and I was literally messaging Giuseppe this afternoon. Was the ending just more of a metaphor of him, falling down this hole of this maybe obsession with this guy? He didn't actually end up in the water. Like what was the ending? For you, at least.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I left it ambiguous to, for the audience to kind of decide for themselves. But for me, the water is kind of a metaphor for his subconscious. And I feel like a lot of queer people experience a kind of death once they come out, because you have to sort of mourn this version of yourself that your family and your friends and whoever else in your life has kind of expected from you as a straight person. And so for me, Christopher's underwater sequence is a kind of him letting go of that side of him so that he can be free to live his truth and be who he wants to be. And in psychology, a lot of stuff to do with underwater is to do with subconscious. And, if you have a film on a boat, it seemed like a perfect kind of metaphor for Christopher's evolution into this new version of him.
What I thought, exactly what I thought.
But the changing of the style, that's a kind of thing I've done quite a lot with my other films, where I sort of set this, I use a Trojan horse of creating this kind of like comfortable and overly beautiful aesthetic, so that the viewer becomes sort of comfortable and mesmerized by that, and then you can start to play with it and disrupt it, so that when you take people into his fantasy, we distort away from that, and you kind of subvert the world that you've built for the audience.
Yeah, it was definitely like, I don't want to say jarring, but when it does switch, you're like, ooh, okay. Like, what's happening here with this style now? You notice it. And then I like, for me, I got like more intrigued of like what was happening and what was going on.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the metaphor was poignant, and also the trip itself is a metaphor. Like this short path between two worlds is another way to represent this change in the character. Right. Yeah. Oh, beautiful work, really. Your short was in Venice. I am the one member of Wicked Queer that follows Venice religiously and brings up submissions from that festival, pushing my Italian agenda. So I meant to say it's doing quite well. What do you have in the future for this short, for other works?
Well, the short, it's Christopher is on his own journey now, kind of doing his own thing. But more festivals. I think we're about halfway through our first year of the festival circuit. So I've had a really fun experience traveling and showing people this film. And for the future, I'm developing a sequel feature-length project of Christopher that could be animation, but maybe is live action. I'm not really sure yet, because I'm not really sure about the audience of queer and animation. I'm not sure if the audience is there for a budget big enough to make a feature film, especially like the crazy stuff that's going on in America. They're losing their minds over there. So maybe a live action short would be easier to fund, or a feature. But I've just moved back to Britain from America, not just because they're crazy over there, but a little bit. And
you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
And soon to be illegal in half of the states, I'm sure. So I've been kind of inspired by being back in England, and I've written a couple of live action shorts, and got this funny little idea for a live action feature film about me becoming prime minister. So we'll see how that goes.
I want to watch that movie.
Right, me too.
Thanks a lot. Yuval, what about you? What is the journey of this short, and what is there for you in the future?
Okay, so the short, he had a few screens in Israel, and he won a competition. It was very nice. It's my first, it's my first movie film.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, this to be your first, and you're like a student, like you have such a bright future ahead of you. I didn't even know that. That's like crazy. Good for you.
Trying to do my best. Thank you.
You are.
For me. So it was great. It was a surprise for me, and after it will be in Boston. It will be in Brooklyn, in a Bush Film Festival, like monthly.
Nice.
Something sweet. And I'm working on another short movie. Also, I'm still in the university, so it's like the finished one.
The final
About-
project.
Final project, thank you. So it's about not director, but a producer that started as a producer of a big film in the desert about, it's like a Hollywood thing about soldier. And she starts like the big producer, and she finished her journey where people ask her to be a bag of sand to that things not will go with the wind. So she starts at the top and go to all the way through the bottom. It's also very gay because I'm gay and that's what I got.
Love it.
Yeah, so it will be funny, and that's it. That's what I have to say about it.
Well, we can't wait.
Yeah,
Yes,
we will film in the summer, I hope.
let us know when it's ready, and yeah, you can submit it.
Yeah, I hope.
Okay, thanks a lot for this nice chat, and this will be available on our channel on YouTube, and it will be also streaming once we have the online streaming, and at the next Monday at the live projection of your movies, I will announce that people can go home and watch the Q&A. So it will be watched right after the screening, hopefully by our audience.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.